Hello, you wonderful people, and welcome to another episode of Not Too Comic Book. This being a show where I talk about TV shows that are adaptations of comic books. For today's episode, I'm going to talk about the Lucifer series finale. A fantastic, beautiful, happy, yet sad, tearful, finale. It's so many really great things went down in this episode, so let's break it down. First and foremost, immediately picking up in the aftermath of last episode, Lucifer is going to do whatever he can to save Rory, despite, this obviously being a trap or whatever, but it's like, this is what he wants to do. It's his choice to just go and save her, because the conversation is like, right, how did he capture her in the first place? It is that half angel, half human thing. So she might have all the powers of a celestial, but she has the vulnerabilities of human. So, most likely all he had to do was track her down and, knock her out, and he was able to take her. But obviously Chloe's like, you don't have to go alone. I'm making a choice of going to, because partners to the end, right? It's like partners to the end. So they go off, and we cut to Vincent with Rory, and obviously he's like, oh, do you know who I am? It's like, I'm Vincent Lamonque. I must be famous in the future or something. She's like, yeah. He's like, oh, famous for killing the devil. And then she's kind of like, because I thought she legit was like, oh, I know you. He's infamous. He becomes a really, really, really bad guy. But she's like, nah, you die choking on a corn dog on the toilet. You go out Elvis style. She's like, I'm just kidding, dude. I have no idea who you are. But obviously it's like, right, I'm going to kill the devil. And you're going to basically be my means to do it. Because at first I thought because Lucifer can choose to be vulnerable around her. It's not, obviously around Chloe, he subconsciously decided to do that. So I didn't know whether Vincent just kind of assumed around. I was like, would Lucifer just automatically be vulnerable around Rory or something like that? That's what, but I mean, once again, his mind, it's his subconscious and his conscience are of one mind now, so maybe it would be a little easier and more controllable than previously. But then it starts hitting Rory of right, I'm the reason why and I was like, that's why your mom never said anything about it, because when we were in that thought process at that point in the episode, I'm like, right, why would your mom want to guilt you with the fact is that you coming back in time is what led to your dad disappearing. It all plays into itself. You're the reason why your dad is never in your life. You grow up with your dad, and it's he disappears because she starts thinking maybe he did get killed, and this is because of me. I'm the reason. I've been so angry at him for so long, and it turns out I'm responsible, which still is true, but we'll get to that later. But I like that. Obviously, despite everything, it's right, you think you know me, because it is what I thought. He was inside of Dan, he was still conscious at the time Dan was in his body. The demons are usually in dead bodies, so that's never been a circumstance that's really come up before. So he overheard everything. So he didn't get any powers or anything, but because she is half human, he's just a regular dude that was able to take her down because of that. But she's like, right, you heard all that stuff, but you didn't hear about this. She pulls out her razor wings and gets ready to attack, but he's not alone. He's got a whole army with him, his whole group. Because it turns out, the reason why he's doing all this is because, and it is kind of I brought it up last episode of right, he seemed a little jittery, almost that's why I thought his story was going to go a different route, because it did seem like he was repentive to some extent, but then it seemed no, he's back to his criminal ways, because he's ever since Lucifer whispered in my ears, I've been feeling this pain or whatever, and it's he's like, yeah, he's torturing me, and now I'm going to do the same. It's Lucifer doesn't torture people. He torture you torture yourself with your own guilt. That's what it is. It's you can't blame Lucifer because you're basically doing this to yourself. And he's kind of getting pissed at Rory, kind of laughing at him for getting so want to blame Lucifer for everything, and she kind of laughs at him. He just kind of gets upset, but it's right. He's, because I said, I thought it was so interesting because it seemed like he was a little apologetic. He didn't realize it at the time, but now it makes sense. His own guilt was eating away at him, because he is talking about later on, he never felt guilty about anything he's ever done, but he's never had Lucifer basically make him face, as Rory says, hell came to you before you even went to hell. But even before you died, hell found its way to you because you pissed off Lucifer killing Dan. So, right, he wanted to make sure he suffered, and it's right, this is what's going to be waiting for you when you come to hell, but it's already hitting you here on earth. So I thought that was kind of interesting, having that come back in this regard of right, that's why he was, I was out, it wasn't just about the devil thing, it's about the searing pain he's constantly in. But Lucifer and Chloe show up, they're ready to wreck shop, except these bastards have been pulling off Rory's feathers, like her feathers are weapons, and so they use those against Lucifer because it's the one thing that could hurt him, because like the only other thing could be like Maze's blade or something like that. He even says like, right, the only other thing that could hurt me are my like other siblings' weapons, which we never really get into too much. But what ends up happening though is doesn't matter. Like, well, we know you're equipped, but obviously that pisses Lucifer off even more, because like, what are they doing to our daughter, you know? And they're over there plucking blades off. I'm just like, oh, seeing her in so much pain and them doing that like guts you a little bit. And obviously it's like they're locking, loading, and like getting all these weapons and blades ready, but it doesn't matter. This song, while we're doing a slow motion montage of like Chloe and Lucifer kicking ass, I even love like at the final point that guy's like shooting from far away, Lucifer spreads his wing, pulls out Maze's blade, is like, yeah, because I think it's so interesting. I think it's so well done in that regard that like most of this episode, I'd say like probably like 60 or so percent, probably a little more, it's just Lucifer and Chloe. And I think that's so impactful and so important, because the entire last episode was about him like closing the book, or you know, it's super. The entire show has been very meta in that regard. I mean, it has been meta in many different regards, but it was like all about saying goodbye last episode, you know, from between the characters and the actors, because I mean, at least in the context of the show, that's the last time Lucifer or even Tom himself just on screen with any of those, you know, with anyone, whether it's Rachel Harris, Linda, Amy Garcia, DB Woodside, like, you know, it was even Kevin Alejandro, like every one of those characters, all the people that are important, it's like this was his last time being on screen with them, you know? So it's like, it's very impactful in its own regard. So like I said, there's a meta to like not only Lucifer saying goodbye, but on a level like Tom. Like I'm sure there's like the rap parties and stuff like that, but like on screen, this is almost like him saying goodbye to them too. So for this to be like him and Chloe never having their actual goodbye, for them this to be their final like episode together, them like the entire episode mainly focusing on them, I think it's powerful in that regard. I was almost hoping that last lady would get it super hard, the one Chloe takes down. Granted, she stabs a little, but it's just the reason why I want her to get it hard because like out of anybody, because she's the one that pulled it seems like she was the one mainly pulling the feathers off of Rory, so it just made me go like, oh, I want her and Vincent to get it the worst out of anybody. Sadly, Chloe gets stabbed, but it's like, right, you already know I make it out of this, you know, but it's like, right, the fire, it's like, no, just go save our daughter, I'll be fine. And so he goes, and obviously Vincent's threatening to kill her. It's like, make this all go away. He's like, I can't. It's your own guilt. You must feel guilty about it. I'm like, as I was about to say, I wondered, did Dan push him over the edge? But it's like, no, like Lucifer, like on some level, the guilt was there, but he pushed it aside, and Lucifer basically rose it to the surface. And so he's like he's like, right, no matter what you do, like, you know, but for him, it's like, I want you to feel the same pain I do. So if I kill your daughter, even if I go to hell afterwards and stuff like that from killing an innocent girl, it doesn't matter. It'll be worth it in me. But he's like, right, but you won't be torturing me. He's like, the perfect way to torture someone is to use their desire against him. So ask me. He's like, and he asks, what do you desire? He's like, I want to be there to see my daughter grow up. I want to be there in her life. So if you really want to torture me, take that option away from me by killing me. And he was offering his life because obviously as her father, it's like, I'll do anything to protect her. And so he's offering up his life, and he's like, fine. And he's okay with, like, you know, he's all about it because he gets to kill Lucifer, but also torture him in the process by doing that. Rory breaks free, screaming like, no, Dad, and grabs him and starts trying to kill Vincent. And in a moment, she starts manifesting a devil face, but Lucifer's like, no, I need you to stop. I don't want you to kill him. It's not worth it because you'll lose yourself. He's like, I know what it's like to be consumed with so much hate and self-loathing because of like that. I don't want you to go down that road. He's not worth it. So please, please. And in that moment, Rory looks in his eyes and her devil face disappears. I love him being like, you called me Dad. And she's like, what? No, I'm pretty sure I was like, damn, that hurts for me, you know, ripping my wings free, you know, to save your life and everything. And I was just like, oh, and they hug and everything. Obviously, Vincent was about to strike again. I was like, no. But then luckily, Chloe showed up. And I was like, wait. So it's all okay. And in the process, he fell backwards. And in a poetic way, ends up falling on some of Rory's feathers. But obviously, like, Vincent's final words is like, I want to see the light like him. It's like, wait, Dan, he saw the light? He went to heaven? And it's like, yeah. I want to see, I see, but all he sees is darkness because all that's waiting for him is hell because of his own guilt. So I thought that was awesome. I mean, not awesome, like that's in a morbid way, but in the sense of like, right, everything's okay. And I'm also kind of had it. I'm like, yeah, he gets what he deserves. But obviously Chloe's okay at the end. It's like, yeah, the medic was like, yeah, a little closer, she would have gone to heaven. It's like, right, I don't have a magical ring to kind of save your life again from those circumstances, so please don't do that. But it's like, yeah, we're okay, everything's fine. He goes over to Rory. It's like, shouldn't you be happy everything worked out? But she's still back to it. It's like, right, I'm still here. So whether, like, I thought this was going to be the thing that sent you away, but apparently it's not. You're still going to leave because I still get so pissed off that I time travel. So like, what's going on here? We still don't know. And obviously letting Chloe know next, like, oh yeah, like, you know, they're back at the penthouse. It's like, right, Dan's in heaven. It's like, yeah. It's like, yeah. Oh, he must have talked to Trixie. It's like, I don't know. It's like, why did he decide to go talk to her? It's like, oh, because I told him to. It's like, what did you say? It's like, yeah. It's not about what you do in your final. It's about, like, who you spend it with, essentially. And it's like, you are the reason why Dan made it to heaven. He's like, no, I just point him in the right direction like Lee. And it's like, that's what this is all about. I love that, being like, Lucifer, you're the example, and the two people that have ever gone from hell to heaven who were able to escape their guilt is because you didn't, you know, because he took it out of Linda's book of like, right, not giving them the answers, giving them people the right questions to ask because they have to figure it out for themselves. And it's like Lucifer is what makes it, that's what makes this different. And I think it's so impactful because this is all part of the fact is that Lucifer has changed. He's dealt with his own situations. He's come to terms with a lot of stuff that he's dealt with over in therapy. So I think that worked out beautifully. I mean, they were foreshadowing this with the whole, Jimmy Barnes situation that was setting up where this was all going to end. It still didn't even click in my mind of like, right, this is what happens. And now, like, right, he's like, my cheeky dad. He said hell didn't need a keeper anymore. He's like, it's right. He's right. It needs a healer because his whole job is like, right, people deserve second chances. And that's what I can give them now. Now understanding things of like, I can help people like through their guilt and eventually get them to heaven. Like all those who deserve a second chance. I was like, that's so beautiful. But for Rory, it's like, that's what this is. This is it. And it's like, what? It's all part of the loop. It's like, you have to go away and never come back. He's like, what? No. It's like, yes. Because you asked to be there. Like, you know, you were worried that you wouldn't be there in the moment I would need you most. But you were, Dad. You saved me. I wanted to kill him, you know, but what stopped me is I looked in your eyes and the anger and everything that I was feeling. I knew in that moment, looking in your eyes, you were the only one who understood what I was feeling. He's like, yeah, I didn't want you to go through what I went through, like any of the pain. You know, being a parent, like no parent wants their child to go through the same thing that they went through any pain. But Rory's like, no, like you, like now, once again, like going full circle about like, right, why Chloe never said anything, because Rory explains it. Things have to play out this way. We can't let anything change because I have to come back in time so that I meet you and we go through all of this and so that I can be saved by you, Dad. And you saving me would eventually leads to you and like finding out the inspiration of what is your calling, what you want to do. So it's like, it all works out. It's like, but obviously it would mean like, things would have to play out this way. Lucifer would have to miss out on her life, but it's like, it's you know, for her, it's like, I'm an angel, like half angel. So like it's only be a blip in that, you know, in the grand existence and everything. But Lucifer is like, I still don't want you to go through that. I want to be there for you. I want to be there. And she's like, when it matters most, obviously, I know you're going to be there for me. And this was all the point. That's why, like I said, it still is kind of like on Rory because she's the one that makes the decision, but it's a hard choice but at the end of the day, it is her choice of like, this needs to happen so that you can become the person you become. Because you know, you're going to be able to help so many lost souls like you did me. I was a lost soul that you helped save. So it's like, promise me that you'll do this. He's like, I don't want, she's like, promise me because I know you'll keep your word. He's like, I'll keep my word. And she's just like, I love you both. And it's just like them holding on to her. She teleports back to the future. I was like, that's so crazy to know, like, that's what this was all about. You know, Lucifer, you know, leaving isn't just like his choice, you know, but it's what's best for Rory, you know, in the long run. And of course, two parents would do whatever it takes for their child, you know, make whatever sacrifices they need to make for their child, you know. And obviously for Lucifer and Chloe, like, they had that moment alone at Lux, you know. And I thought it was a very, like, well, because I don't think it's during that scene, it's later on, but like the whole My Chemical Romance, Welcome to the Black Parade playing. I don't think I've ever heard that song all the way through. I don't even know if that was the full version. I just like, I've heard bits and pieces of the song. Like, that was like a more like, orchestral isn't the right word, I don't think. I guess it's kind of almost like a rendition or something like that. Maybe you know, it's like, it's not like the heavier, the original version of it. Like, I don't think that is, like, from what I remember, because like the original version's a little heavier from like on like especially like instrumentally, if I remember correctly. I could be like full of crap completely. Interesting timing too, like because like just a teaser trailer for no, I was about to compare it to something else. I dropped that because I forgot there was another thing. Regardless, it's not important. Regardless, you know, obviously Lucifer doesn't want to go and she doesn't go. I even love the whole, like, right, Lucifer Morningstar. Is that a stage name or something? He's like, God-given. Well, oh, God, not new. A man of God, you know? And it's like, kind of that coming full circle like that, too. It's just like, oh, it's, you know, and it's just like, neither one of what he doesn't want to go and she doesn't want to go, but it's what they need to do for Rory. And it's like, just close your eyes. Even if I'm not there, I will always be by your side, even when you're down there. So, yeah, I thought that was kind of like a nice final moment that they have together, you know? And then we get like our montage of the future and just see how everything plays out. Well, Amenadel is in heaven, you know, his siblings are bowing down to, but in that moment he gets rid of the throne and kind of has them stand up and it's like, right, don't bow before me, let's stand together, we're in this together. So Chloe's coming back to work, Ella's handing out those t-shirts for the STEM, taking pictures with kids. Chloe runs into Sonya because she had made the promise to Amenadel that she would handle, like, she would pick up that calls while he was gone, you know, be her eyes and ears on Earth, at least even in the police station, because, you know, too bad he didn't get to, like, I mean, granted, it ended up being a very important story for him, and I think it lends itself very nicely to his story and to becoming God, like everything related to that. But I think that worked out really nicely. In heaven we have Charlotte and Daniel, like, yeah, that's awesome. I'm so glad that they have that together. And Maze and Eve bounty hunting together. Linda and Amenadel, like, because we get like we're getting like months later, like Chloe showing, and she's lieutenant now. Harris is a detective, so it's like her, Ella, and Carol are kind of the new squad, and kind of the new her, Dan, and Lucifer to an extent. Like, I really, really like that. Kind of filling that role a little bit, and Amenadel being there watching over it. And even you see Sonya kind of turn for a little bit, because I think like she got a feeling and just kind of something, an essence of like, right, he was there, but obviously she didn't see him. But like I said, just keeping an eye on that. And obviously with Linda at Charlie's birthday, and then all of a sudden he sprouts wings, and then like you see him in the door, like, yeah, and it's like, of course he would sprout wings, because you know, I kept being like, Amenadel's crazy, like, we already know he's human, but it's like, right, but it's like, right, he hasn't come into his celestial hood yet. Now he has. So it's like, yeah. And now all the preparations Linda was making before that, she was like, oh, I guess I'll have to make them out. I was like, well, I got to go back to making those now. Granted, he's a little bit older. He's not an infant anymore. But it's like, yeah, that all worked out. So that's awesome. Very much like Rory, he's going to age, but he's going to age slowly. So they'd even brought it up, I want to say, last episode that, he had talked to Linda about the fact is that Rory and Charlie kind of have like some kind of rivalry. Now it kind of makes even more sense of what that's all about. But yeah, then you have obviously like Maze had answered her phone, and she immediately like leaves with Eve, and like her, Ella. I love Ella sounded like "Welcome to Earth, Rory," and so Chloe brings her home surrounded by her family and the people she cares about, and even Trixie, which I didn't even think about at the time, because it's like, right, Rory refers to her as T, which is like, oh yeah, because I have two older sisters, and my eldest sister, you know, her initial is C, but I mean, we all just call her most of the family calls her T anyways. It was like, it just, I never thought about that right now. I know it's little things like that, but it's like, oh, it makes that connection even stronger for me. But, yeah, we, cut to the future where Rory is returning by her mom's bedside, and it's like, right, like, I'm back. It's like, how did you handle all that? All that pain is out, like all my anger and all that. And it's just like, I guess because the only positive is she knew that, like, despite everything, eventually Rory's going to get to know her father. That's why she always spoke so highly of Lucifer, because she knew the truth about why Lucifer left. But it's like, she could never tell Rory. It's like, it's a necessary part of your journey. But it's also, I can't tell you. You have to, like, if you know what's going to happen, it takes away, like, your choices, because at the end of the day, your choices do matter. Once again, it's the whole free will versus everything's, versus fate debate. But it's like, right, because Chloe had to leave her to make her own choices, and she did. And it's like, and it's like, no parent wants to see their child, in pain. But, like you said, Rory, you said you wouldn't change a thing, and neither would I. And I was like, that's so beautiful. She's like, I'm going to miss you. And Rory's like, Mom, I'm a half angel. So I'll see you on the other side. And her passing away and Amenadel being there. And he's like, extending a hand, are you ready to go home? And she's like, yeah. And you're like, I thought that was beautiful. And then we go to hell, and there he is, Lucifer is in therapy sessions, and lo and behold, who is he talking to? Freaking Reese. I love it. Are we supposed to know who the lady is beside him? Because I was about to say for a second, I was like, is that, she doesn't say anything, but I was like, is that just another person in hell, just a random person, or is that someone we're supposed to know? Is that supposed to be like a, because I'm curious, like, what's up with the demons and stuff like that? Like, is he kind of giving them therapy as well? Like, what is their new jobs in the, like, hell 2.0? But I love that he's taking everything he learned from Linda, which is ironic considering, like, that's Reese's ex. But he's also like, right, I don't believe I can change. But he's like, it's like nothing he ever does ever feels good enough. But, like, Lucifer's like, right, like, it's been, it took me a millennia of, like, yeah, just torturing souls. But he's like, look at me now. Like, I've changed so much. He talks about the fact is that, it's like, if I, the devil, can change, that means there's hope for anyone. Like, if the devil can change, like, anyone can change. Anyone's capable of it. It's just like, I just love the thought of him taking once again, coming forth, just like him taking everything he's learned from his sessions with Linda, how he's grown and gotten over his guilt and everything, and pointing people in the right direction, not giving them the answers, just giving them the right questions to ask. And then it's just like, lo and behold, who's beside him? Vincent. And he's like, oh, should I, like, shoot you in the face? It's like, no, Vincent, you don't shoot anyone in the face. You're probably going to need to be here a little bit longer. And it's like, yeah, all right. Which I think that's the point. Even the people you hate, even I'm like, oh, I hate you, Vincent. It's like, but it's still nice to, like, right, no one's an exception, We can get to see it, but that also means Cain's most likely there. So that's definitely going to be an interesting therapy session, because Cain's there, Abel's there. So that's, yeah, because Abel was in hell and not heaven, right? I don't remember. I kept thinking in hell, but I'm like, was he in hell? I don't remember. But regardless, like, I thought, like, the two, like, just those two appearances alone, like, right, kind of cement of, like, right, even something as, by then it'd been, like, decades later, but still, it would be nice to kind of know where everyone else ended up in the aftermath, but we got enough of their stories to know, like, how things played out. It's kind of sad to think about, because most likely by the time Chloe passes away, like, obviously T's probably, like, Trixie's, like, she's much older and stuff like that. Linda, and maybe, like, I don't know, maybe they're just older, but, like, Linda or, Ella and Carol, like, how life kind of played out for them in certain regards, but I did like that it's like there's a knock at the door and Chloe's there. She's like, yeah, I figured you could use a partner. And it's like, yeah, continuing their work, partners to the end, both, like, just, because I always wondered about that, like, if they were together, it's like eventually Chloe would grow old and die, but it's like, right, I'm forgetting about the whole being an angel thing. So, like, he could always visit her no matter what. So it's like, right, partners to the end, right? So we'll do this. And, it'll be a family business. Like, Rory will stop by sometimes and help out potentially. So she has a benefit of, like, being able to see everyone in the family, like, at any point in time. That's the beauty of this nature. So, like, it hits even harder in the sense of, like, it's a beautiful and yet sad ending because like we get the end of like certain lives and stuff like that. I've never watched it, but I know like certain elements of 6 Feet Under's ending is like that. Obviously, there's parallels to Supernatural's ending. I'm curious how people who feel about this versus Supernatural's ending. I know like I guess maybe how we got there Supernatural wise, people probably weren't too happy about, but I wonder would people be a lot more accepting of this ending because but I also talked about it. I liked Supernatural's ending. That's not like a majority. Like from what I've heard, I'm not saying everyone felt that way, but a good chunk of people I know did not like the way Supernatural ended. So I'm curious if like the journey here and the context of everything, people like it better storytelling wise than maybe Supernatural's ending. Once again, there's also like the Rob Benedict like element to it as well, which I think is kind of funny. But regardless, I just think it's a beautiful ending. And like legit like the scene between Lucifer and Rory when she was about to kill Vincent did bring a tear to my eye. I don't know if I mentioned that earlier. You know, I don't. Once again, I'm very open about the fact that when TV shows make me cry. So I meant to bring it up earlier, and I don't remember if I did. The song that was playing through the montage, I have to look it up. I was like, it sounded like it, but I wasn't sure. I was like, is that Gorillaz? That sounds like a Gorillaz song, but I'm not sure. I'd have to look that up afterwards. But like I said, it was a very beautiful ending. I think this is a perfect and great way to end it because it's also nice to know, like, right, because of this whole celestial thing, they have eternity together. It's just kind of like, right, Lucifer's doing the Hell 2.0 thing. He's got Chloe by his side, and maybe eventually Rory will take over the family business in some regard of like because now they can be a family together as a whole. Like eventually everyone will be reunited. They can pop in on each other every once in a while. Makes you wonder how Amenadel's running hell, like what's up with God and the goddess in their own dimension, what's up on that side. I don't know, it's not like we got the answers we need. It's not like those are just extra fun things to think about in the grand scheme of things. But like I said, it's just a beautiful ending. And I've said this before, and I'm sure everyone's made the pun, but it's still so important to say it now too, is how that this was a hell of a ride. You know, yes, it's the cliche thing to go to, but it still rings so true. I mean, think about it. Like it's there's another reality where Lucifer stayed canceled after its third season. I'm so glad that the show got picked up by Netflix. We got 3 more seasons of Lucifer, and we got this ending. That's amazing, and I will always be happy about that because I love and adore this show. The show is so fun. It's so full of heart. You never thought this would be the show about the devil that you would get. And, you know, I never knew I would get this. I never knew I'd love it as much as I do, but I do. From top to bottom, from everyone associated from this show, cast and crew, I wish them all the best in their future endeavors, you know, and it always hits me when we're at the end of these recordings because it's like, right, I've never stopped talking about Lucifer. I'll always have conversations about certain things I can reference. It's always going to be here on Netflix, so I can rewatch the entire series if I want to, because I haven't rewatched seasons 1, 2, and 3 like subsequently since it was on Netflix. I haven't, so I can always go back and, you know, relive stuff and maybe even get to this point at the end again, and it'll hit even harder having the entire, because a lot of the first 3 seasons, I remember certain things, but a lot of stuff kind of blurs together. So, because it's just been that long, I haven't seen each season since they originally aired. And like I said, I only saw them once each. So, but regardless, like I said, just that ending thing of like the moment I stop talking, it makes it that much realer. Makes it a reality. It even makes it even more of a reality. Once I start uploading it, that's when it really, really hits me. But I don't know. Like I said, it is Tuesday at the time of recording this. I'm going to try and get these up tomorrow, which will be Wednesday, but we'll see. Hopefully, I don't like beat around the bush because I still need to edit these and everything. But yeah, like I said, once again, thanks to everyone associated with the show for creating 6 amazing seasons of this amazing show. Thank you for every hour, every minute, every second of it. But yeah, that's really all I wanted to talk about. Till the next time we meet, be happy, be safe, live life to the fullest, and enjoy it. Good day and goodbye.